This is a short video to prevent you wasting your time on an AI-generated story that may or may not be based on some story that happened, but here we go. 1943, Empress, Augusta Bay is the location. This is the time and place. A staff sergeant, or something like that, sniper, Thomas Michael Callahan, used a soup can as a trap for 112 Japanese soldiers that he was able to remove from this world in 5 days. The story is that the soup can, or soup cans, the story is different depending on where you look it up, were used to reflect and deflect light at certain angles so that it would confuse the opponent and make them go looking where they shouldn't go looking so they'd be easier to pick off. It's not a silencer. It wasn't some other thing. And the story immediately gets criticized by anybody watching the video or viewing it on Facebook, which oddly enough has a better truthiness score today because more people said BS, by pointing out that parts of the story saying he was trained at a sniper school at a certain location that does not or did not exist at the time and was not a sniper school. And then correcting them by what they should put in. This sounds like an AI-generated story because apparently it is. Now, what could this actually be based on in reality? Now, again, we're at 1 minute 30 seconds. The story you were watching that could take up to 47 minutes, I saved you that time by 30 to 1, let's say. All right, here we go. Empress Augusta Bay Wikipedia article below says it's a real place. 1943 actually was the year that happened. Okay, that's as far as we're going. Could there have been a staff sergeant named Thomas Michael Callahan or some variation? Of course. This is almost a generic name, not really, but it could be. Okay. And is it possible for a single shooter to take out 100 people in 5 days or 20 a day? And the answer is yes. So this is not incredible. It's very credible. It's just that this is more like White Death levels of infamy being breathlessly expressed. I'm not going to provide any links to the videos because if you were watching this video, you were obviously looking at them. Or you might have looked it up because someone told you to. And again, in 1 minute and 30 seconds, I'm telling you that the only place this exists in is AI-generated videos and on Facebook very recently, like within the last 24 to 48 hours. And today's date is the 8th of December, 2025. That's it. This is a nothing burger. Could someone set up one or more, it's variations depending on where you're looking it up, soup cans where the top and bottom are cut out so that it would be just a reflector with presumably the lining that you would have in it at the time. Please look up canning methods that were used for, again, it was a soup can in the 1940s. Look up whether or not they had the structural reinforcing ribbings to them or not, and whether or not they were tin-lined steel cans. Okay, and whether or not they'd stopped using lead solder. Okay, look up these things. This is actually something I learned about because, oddly enough, in the old days, I would make soup can and soda can based stoves, and I learned a lot more about what the difference is between various cans, like a a two-piece versus a three-piece can. Okay, here we go. If it was tin-lined steel, tin makes a really good reflector. If it was lined with any kind of liner material, which would have been a varathane-like material that's food grade, otherwise known as varnish lining for food, that was pretty common too. Also, depending on the soup, it was cooked in the can, which means it won't have those liners unless they're high temperature stable, and they would have cooked it by putting the cans into basically a pressure cooker, cooking everything in one mass, and sealing them either before or after that, so that it would create a negative pressure. As it lowered temperature, it would create almost a vacuum-like seal inside and make it to where you could tell it was bad, because as soon as you popped it, instead of it pulling air in, it would have pressure inside and push air out. That was one of the reasons for doing this. Low oxygen levels, keep it hot until it's sealed, seal it while hot, and have it botulism evident by whether or not it produced gas pressure and sprayed filthy stuff, or if it pulled air in, which meant you had to eat it immediately. Cutting the top and bottom off of a can and then shining a light through it would let you point a light at them, hypothetically. If you could get a very focused beam and have them set in various positions where you reflected them just right, to where it would create a dot of light over in some place and maybe distract an opponent. But all that would do is indicate that there's something to shoot at in the area. A brief glint of light might have been interpreted as someone lighting a cigarette or somebody turning on a flashlight. But then again, you would also be exposing yourself, even if you did the angles perfectly, because any random leaf might reflect light. And there's this glow effect. If you turn on a light source hidden behind something, all of the other leaves around it will light up too. That's something that a lot of people figured out from people using lights to read maps at night. And this would only work at night. Maybe it worked during the day. Also, the claim is instead of it reflecting a flashlight, it reflected daylight. So as the sun moved through the sky, this person did all the precision work to light up various points all in the distance and make the Japanese soldiers go out and investigate. If they're in a known set location, where everybody knows there's a bunch of Japanese who are occupying the area, like it's the front or whatever. We're kind of vague here. Wouldn't it have been massively much more useful to just observe and see if anything happens, or maybe just fire a shot, rather than sending out a patrol of 2 to 3 people and have them taken out by some supposed sneaky method? This might have happened. It might be completely true, but the stories I'm seeing are extremely short on one thing. Citation, please. Citation needed. Wikipedia joke. So I looked up Empress, Augusta Bay, and military innovation. That's actually the term that was used today all the way backwards in time. Unless somebody, Trump administration, decided to erase heroes of the past from your record books, or you could blame Biden, or just blame Obama, because that's what people do. Or blame Hillary because it's more fun. Unless somebody did something like that, this information isn't showing up. I don't see any sign of it. I know of lots of stories told to me by people who said that they did it, of them doing all sorts of goofy stuff. One of the easiest ones with soup cans was to make a noisemaker. There's a way of doing it where you set it up to where if somebody comes by, at the exact point that they're standing, you'll hear a specific noise. You'll know, all I have to do is shoot that spot, and I'll hit whoever's standing there like an idiot. Those sorts of noise traps and tin can traps and soup can traps existed. So I don't know where this came from. I'm not sure what this is based on, and none of the stories actually give a citation where it came from. If this is a, quote, well-known story or not, doesn't matter. Citation, please. So I did not waste your time at almost 8 minutes. I did it in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. I'm pretty sure this story may be based on something that really happened, but the fact that the sources on YouTube and whatever are simply not giving us a link, that says bullshit. Bye.